You keep falling in love with your own projections, not with the person standing in front of you. The fantasy is safer than the truth. Carl Jung called this the danger of the shadow you refuse to see. This philosopher saw the pain in the moment your life spins on secrets you won't face. You wake up years later trapped in patterns you never chose, living out scripts you never questioned. In memories, dreams, reflections, he brings this closer. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That line hits like a hammer. It means the real force behind your choices was never visible to you. You believe you love someone for their kindness or humor, but secretly, you're pulled toward what you hope they can complete in you. The projection is a shield. It keeps the unpredictable reality of another person at a safe distance. But safety here is poison. Every time you let your projections run the show, the real relationship withers. Forget romance. This applies everywhere. Friendships get built on silent contracts, jobs accepted for status, goals chosen to win a parent's approval instead of your own. The unconscious is hungry. It can't help but project, especially when you refuse to look inside. Here's the part most people skip past without noticing. Underneath, it's old fear that drives the pattern. Facing the truth threatens your sense of self. If you drop the fantasy, what remains? In Memories, Dreams, Reflections, he makes the stakes clear again. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. That second blow leaves no wiggle room. Choosing not to look inside isn't just an oversight, it's a decision to stay asleep. Dreams feel comforting, but always fade in daylight. Denying the shadow costs more than you realize. You lose intimacy, honesty, and even the shape of your own desires. You might go years before noticing how hollow the victories feel. The question keeps circling back. What are you letting direct your life, unseen, while you call it fate? Each time you refuse to recognize what's yours, you hand over the pen to something you pretend isn't there. And all along, there's a faint sense that if you dared to wake up, something real might finally begin. That possibility sits behind every disappointment and every heartbreak that defies explanation. But here's the catch. The harder you try to banish the shadow, the more it festers in the dark. You don't erase it by shaming or ignoring. You end up feeding it blindly. Sometimes whole years vanish this way, chasing order or perfection, only to return to the same private chaos. That nagging frustration, it's not life getting harder. It's your unowned shadow running the script with your name on it. You notice patterns, crises that repeat, arguments that never resolve, ambitions that lose their meaning mid-chase. On the surface, these look like problems to solve. But solving isn't the same as seeing. The shadow takes everything you push away and builds it into a second self, the one who sabotages at 2 a.m., or whispers doubts just as you near something that matters. The philosopher never claimed you could outthink the shadow, only outweigh it. Pulling away just gives it room to grow teeth. The memorable line lands here. The parts of you you fight hardest to bury become the authors of your future. Most never catch this chain reaction. Trying to exile the shadow means staging your whole life around it, pretending what scares you isn't in the room. You might work double, love harder, perform better, just to dodge the recognition. That's not growth. That's entrapment with extra steps. In Aeon, he stripped away the polite phrasing for good. Shadow is a moral problem that challenges the whole ego personality. Each word presses on a bruise. Notice, the shadow isn't a flaw you patch up, but a live challenge that tests who you are to the core. Lose that battle, and you sacrifice not just peace, but the ability to act out of anything genuine again. The more energy you spend suppressing or disguising the shadow, the less you have left for the person you might become. But that's not the deepest cost. There's a mechanism here most people never see. There's a moment where suppressing the shadow flips from protection to imprisonment. The twist is always subtle. Tiredness thickens in you, habits become script, and every interaction tastes flat. Then comes a rupture, a confrontation, or a breakdown that rips the disguise away. In Modern Man in Search of a Soul, the philosopher delivered an almost volatile analogy. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. When your shadow collides with your conscious self, something new always forms, often unexpected, sometimes catalytic, never safe. Fear grows from the unknown contents of that meeting. What if everything you banish eventually erupts in public? What if the people closest to you see more than you wanted? The stakes are private, but the losses turn public fast. Suddenly, the questions running through your mind aren't about goals, but about survival. Who'll stay if all of you get seen? Here's the part most people skip past without noticing. This cycle steals from you. Years vanish to rehearsed smiles, careful edits, the safety of never being fully honest. People sense the withholding even when you think you're flawless at hiding it. So relationships thin out, creativity stiffens, and even pleasure starts to taste diluted. Each attempt to bury what's raw inside you ends up being a blueprint for self-alienation. This isn't morality, it's mechanics. Cut from yourself, you shrink from everything real, risking your only access to authentic agency. For centuries, cultures used ritual and myth as slow-motion mirrors for the shadow. Initiation rites, dark fairy tales, pilgrimage routes that forced confrontation with inner monsters. The philosopher's work drew from these patterns, putting words to an ancient struggle, a naming that breaks the trance. In The Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious, his jaw-dropping line cracks open any illusion of escape. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. This is what the shadow offers if you accept the challenge. A life rebuilt not on the fantasy of perfection, but on the granite of total self-honesty. Relief comes, not from destroying darkness, but from carrying it wisely, a kind of truce with yourself that restores lost energy and sharpens your own edge. This is where something vital returns, the possibility of action that's honest, relationships that actually touch skin, a purpose chosen for you and no one else. From here, every choice bends back toward reality. The question is no longer, will the shadow catch up, but what world am I building with what I've refused to lose? The fantasy is safer than the truth. Embracing your shadow creates a pathway to authenticity. If this resonated with you, subscribe to the channel and comment below. What single truth about yourself have you avoided acknowledging?